Some people say ghosts aren't real, that what we see in the dark is just the mind playing tricks on us, that exhaustion, isolation, and fear can make ordinary things feel terrifying. I used to believe that too. A normal night, a normal delivery. This happened in October of 2021. I was 22 at the time and working part-time as a pizza delivery driver while finishing college. My shift usually ran from 6 p.m. to midnight. Most nights were completely normal: suburban neighborhoods, apartment complexes, dorms, office buildings. Nothing unusual. But that night felt wrong from the very beginning. At around 10:15 p.m., the lights inside the store flickered for just a second. At the exact same moment, a new order popped up on the screen. Order number 247. Customer name R. Walker. Address: 112 Blackwood Lane, Ash Creek District. The second I read the address, a strange feeling settled in my stomach. Ash Creek was an old part of town, nearly abandoned at night. The streets were lined with decaying Victorian houses and empty lots. Hardly anyone ordered from there anymore. I joked with Mike, the shift manager. "People actually live out there?" Without even looking up, he shrugged. "If they're paying, somebody lives there." But as I grabbed the order, I noticed the elderly janitor sitting in the corner staring directly at me. He spoke quietly. "Don't stay there too long." Before I could ask what he meant, he looked away and went silent. I laughed it off and headed out. I really wish I hadn't. By the time I reached Ash Creek, the streets were almost completely empty. The temperature had dropped fast, and the air smelled damp, like wet wood and mildew. The moment I turned into the first street, I realized how quiet everything was. No dogs barking, no people outside, no TVs playing through windows. Nothing. Just silence. My GPS kept losing signal. The screen froze, spun around, then suddenly went completely black. And that's when I heard it. Footsteps behind me, like someone walking directly behind my bike. I turned around immediately. Nobody. Just an empty street. But the footsteps didn't stop. Even after I stopped moving, I heard 2 more steps. Then silence. My grip tightened around the handlebars. As I entered the 3rd street, the GPS suddenly came back to life. "You have arrived at your destination." I looked up, and my stomach dropped. An old 2-story mansion stood at the end of the road. The red brick walls had turned nearly black with age. Several windows were shattered. Torn curtains hung inside some of them. But there wasn't even any wind. The strangest part? Not a single light was on in the entire house. Yet someone was standing in one of the upstairs windows. Tall, completely still. I blinked. The figure was gone. Something tightened in my throat. Trying to stay calm, I pulled out my phone and called the customer. 1 ring. 2 rings. Then, I heard the ringtone coming from inside the house. Clear as day, like the phone was sitting right behind the front door. But nobody answered. I slowly walked toward the entrance, and just as I got close, I heard a woman crying inside, very softly, like she was covering her mouth while sobbing. Then suddenly, the crying turned into laughter. Low, broken, choking laughter. My feet stopped moving. I wanted to leave. Honestly, I should have left right then. But one thought kept repeating in my head. What if someone inside needs help? I knocked on the door. No answer. Then slowly, the heavy wooden door creaked open by itself. Inside was complete darkness. Not normal darkness. The kind that swallowed the beam of my flashlight before it could reach the walls. And standing in that darkness was a figure. Tall. Extremely thin. Its arms hung unnaturally low at its sides. I couldn't see its face. Only two pale, glowing eyes. My voice shook. Pizza delivery. No response. The thing didn't move. And then I realized something that made every hair on my body stand up. Its feet weren't touching the floor. It was hovering slightly above the ground. My entire body went numb. At that exact moment, I heard something dragging across the upstairs floor. Slowly. Like something heavy being pulled across wood. Then, someone was walking upstairs. But the thing downstairs was still standing right in front of me, meaning there was something else up there. My mouth went dry. I slowly stepped backward. That's when the figure tilted its head upward. Not toward me. Toward the ceiling. And a split second later, a massive crash exploded from upstairs. Like a human body had just slammed onto the floor from above. And immediately after that, someone whispered directly beside my ear. "Too late," I screamed. But there was nobody there. I ran, as fast as I could. Behind me, I could hear footsteps charging after me. Fast. Very fast. I reached my bike, but my hands were shaking so badly that I dropped the keys 3 times. And then, I felt cold breath against the back of my neck. Ice cold. I didn't dare turn around. The second the engine started, I sped out of there. But as I reached the end of the street, I looked into the rearview mirror. The figure was standing in the middle of the road, and now I could finally see its face. Its eyes were completely black. Its mouth hung unnaturally wide open, and its neck was twisted sideways, like it had been broken in a fall. I drove straight back to the store. The pizza box was still in my hands. Mike looked at me and frowned. "What happened to you? You look pale as hell." I told him everything. At first, he laughed. Then he saw my face and stopped smiling. He checked the order system. A few seconds later, his expression changed completely. That order never came through. I stared at him. "What are you talking about? I saw it myself." "Order 247. He turned the monitor toward me. The last order number of the night was 246. There was no 247. No R. Walker. Nothing. I grabbed my phone to show him the notification. But there wasn't one. No order history. No missed call. No record in the app. Like the order had never existed. Mike sent me home early that night. But the next afternoon, curiosity got the better of me. I drove back to Ash Creek in daylight. You know how everything feels less scary during the day? I reached Blackwood Lane and froze. There was no house there, no mansion, nothing. Just an empty lot. Broken stones, rotting wood, pieces of an old foundation buried in dirt. Nearby, an old man running a small coffee stand told me a mansion used to stand there years ago. It had been demolished almost 15 years earlier. I asked him quietly, "What happened there?" He gave me a strange look before answering. "Long time ago, a man fell from the second floor, died instantly." My hands slowly tightened around my phone. The loud crash I heard that night came from upstairs. After that night, I never delivered anywhere near Ash Creek again. Some people will say there's a logical explanation. A GPS glitch. Exhaustion. Hallucinations. Maybe. But I know what I saw on that screen. I know I saw Order 247. I know I heard those footsteps. And I know that thing was standing inside that house. Because when I stood in that empty lot the next day, there was a clean piece of paper lying beside the broken stones, and written on it was a single number, 247. I left the paper there, didn't look back, and I never returned to that street again. Not during the day, and definitely not at night, because some places are better left alone.